More chaos today as we complete another Daedric shrine, and this time we're getting the Staff of Corruption, which literally makes a clone of an enemy. This is the shrine quest of Vaermina. It takes quite a bit to activate it, and then there's probably one of the most unique dungeons in Oblivion in my opinion that you have to complete. So first off, where is the shrine and the information you need to know to activate it. You've got to be level 5 and it does involve getting hold of a black soul gem. I'll go through some of the stages that I had to go through to get that as a level 11 character, which was still really tough. The shrine location is just south, slightly southwest at Lake Puppet. As usual, when you get there'll be some followers, and then you simply activate the shrine like normal as long as you've got an empty black soul gem. So this ended up taking me nearly 2 hours because I didn't have the relevant skills and I hadn't really killed a lot of necromancers. That might be your best bet to get one for absolutely free, as once you get to level 5 you've got a 10% chance of them dropping. Black soul gems, if you don't know, are the souls of humans generally. You can only trap the souls of NPCs and humans inside black soul gems compared to some of the others. And obviously for that reason they're a bit tougher to get. Some maybe merchants and mages guilds will have them, as we'll discover, or you can transform a grand soul gem into a black soul gem. And that's what I ended up having to do, as well as trying to get certain skills up to level 25 so that I could cast Soul Trap in Mysticism, or you're going to have to buy yourself a Soul Trap scroll to use. So while I've been waffling, you can see I've been heading actually east, and this is where the entrance is to Dark Fissure. This is one of the locations that you can transform a Grand Soul Gem into a Black Gem, but it can only be done at certain times of the week. So this place, Dark Fissure, is a part of the Arcane quest line at the university. You can go and explore the caves and there'll be a bunch of necromancers in there, so you've got a good chance of hopefully getting one to drop. Otherwise, you're going to have to do what I did, which is get a Grand Soul Gem and wait until it turns midnight on Sundus into Mundus morning. So bear in mind there's like 8 days of the week in Oblivion. That means a lot of waiting around if you've missed a certain date. So here's the location of the Dark Fissure. I'm going to go in a few more details about what to do once you've got a Grand Soul Gem. Obviously if you've got a Black Soul Gem already, then you can maybe skip, and I should hopefully put a few timestamps in. But yeah, you can see the Dark Fissure and the altar pretty much to the east of the shrine. There are 3 other locations where you can go ahead and transform Grand Soul Gems into black ones. And remember, unless you've got a scroll that you can use to trap souls, you will need to be level 25 in Mysticism to go ahead and cast a Soul Trap spell. So Grand Soul Gems can be bought from traders, but only certain ones. I spent a stupid amount of time running around to different places to try and find one, and you should be able to buy them from the Coral Mages Guild, the Arcane University, or find them at least in the Arch Mages Lobby, the Arcane University Mages Quarter, Crayfish Cave, Drake Low, Non-Normal and Squandered Mine. Now that's a lot of location names which I didn't actually go to. Instead I went and stole some from Coral, because when I tried buying some he didn't actually have any in his inventory, so I guess it's just a bit more random chance. You'll find at least one hopefully inside these display cases, and given I had much more of a thief build it was pretty easy to go and get them. Obviously you may have come across more by looting certain places as well, so this makes life a lot easier. And if you're having trouble actually using a Soul Trap spell, maybe you can't find a scroll to go ahead and buy one, then Clairvoyance, the spell that you get given at the start of the game, does increase your mysticism, as well as obviously Detect Life. Detect Life was the strongest of the spells and that leveled me up pretty quickly to level 25. However, what I did do was go to Bravo and to the Mage's shop there and managed to buy a Soul Trap scroll which you can use at any level. So finally you've got a Grand Soul Gem. I literally went back to the actual fissure place and waited until it got to midnight on Sundus. So once it turns from Sunday into the Mundus, or Monday, you should notice a red beacon in the sky. Now if you're really close to it, it's actually not that easy to spot, because obviously unless you're looking directly up. If you see any more of these red beacons, that might indicate another place, another altar which you can use. As said, there are 4 of these altar stones and they all activate on the same time, same day. So Fort Isterus east of Kvatch, Fort Linchow northeast of Kvatch, or Wendelbeck at the headwaters of the Panther River. The altars will all look the same. They'll be white with a red kind of cloth draped across it. So, just a little bit of conjecture here. According to the unofficial wiki for the Elder Scrolls, it says that these actual special shade days only occur every 8 days. And it literally lists the actual calendar date, not the actual day of the week. So Last Sea 27, Herfire 4, Herfire 12, Herfire 20. However, the actual fandom wiki states that it will always happen when it turns from midnight on a Sundas to Monday AM. And so that's what actually happened to me. It was Sundas going into Mondas, if that was the right day. So, place the Grand Soul Gem inside the altar, and then go ahead once you see the red beacon and use your Soul Trap scroll or your Soul Trap spell. Now, I had come across some Soul Trap arrows. Maybe I should have given that a shot, but yeah, maybe that can work for you. Otherwise, make sure you've got one of these as backup. And then look inside and you'll see now you've got a Black Soul Gem. So you can only do this once a week. And if you quick and fast travel to the other locations, you should then be able to go ahead and do more if you really want. But as this is really a guide about getting the staff rather than Black Soul Gems completely, I'm not going to bother with that. I've shown you the easiest and best way, the closest way to the shrine as well. But I think I will work on a deeper guide showing all the locations of this and talking a bit more about some of the Black Soul Gems. Just the last thing to note, that some of the Black Soul Gems that you get from a mage quest, I do believe, in Coral won't necessarily work because they're quest items, and you can get a special type of Black Soul Gem eventually as well as part of another quest that might work, but it will mean that you might lose the soul that's in it. And generally they do have to be empty, so make sure you're not using any soul captures on any other creatures before you get to this point, just in case it accidentally fills the Grand Soul Gem before you convert it, or afterwards when you're going back to the shrine. So, you've supplied the Black Soul Gem. Now the next part of the quest begins, and this is where the challenging part comes into play with combat. You have to go to Arkveds Tower, which is directly to the south. Can't really miss it, it's a massive, large, broken down tower, and go immediately into the doors. This is a lengthy labyrinthian dungeon filled with flame atronachs, clanifers that are pretty challenging the higher level you get, as well as some crazy dungeon areas where you have to go through the abyss. I'm going to go through it in a bit more detail for sure, but just giving you a heads up if you want to just experience it mostly for yourself. But eventually you'll come to Arkved, who is laying down in his bed, and yeah, you can go and pick up the orb that you're after, which is what you need to return to the shrine to actually get the Staff of Corruption. It'll only work with one use on one person at a time, or creature. And if you use it on any kind of creature or human that summons something, it will still have the same attacks as that, and they'll pretty much fight each other. I used it on a mage, he summoned a zombie, and so did the clone. It's pretty intensive with its charges, although not as bad as the RATBAGGERS staff that I showed recently. But yeah, another really interesting stave. Alright, let's show you the actual guide to the dungeon. As I said, it's pretty complex. Otherwise, if you just want to experience for yourself, thanks a lot for watching. Leave a like if you found it useful, and I'll see you RATBAGGERS for more soon. So I'm doing something quite unusual for me. I'm actually going to take you through it with as little cuts as possible, because some of you guys give me some feedback on the previous videos saying I cut too much. I normally assume or think that you guys will be able to handle a lot of the dungeons and stuff, because quite frankly, it's pretty easy. Everything's listed on the map, especially when it comes to finding certain locations. But I do realise that sometimes I probably am cutting a little bit too quick. So this is kind of a new style for me, just doing it all in one go. You'll come to this main room, and actually if you take a look at the map, which I've previously explored, obviously you'll have to deal with a lot more enemies. But you can see it's pretty much just a straight corridor in this first part of Arkved's Tower. But yes, quite challenging. You will come across, like I said, clanifers in various rooms, some flame atronachs. You can see the dead corpses of two that I took on. Obviously there's loot as well, and this one I'm kind of doing in this style, because at least then you can decide whether or not you want to loot stuff, maybe just run through, ignore enemies. Now this one's a bit more interesting. This is the Void. If I go ahead and show you the map again, you can see it again. It's a pretty long corridor. It literally runs out of space. Now there are 3 chests. I will mention this at least. You can see one just by the entranceway as you come in. And then there will be another one pretty much where you see that light. There should be one there as well. And there should be a 3rd chest on the actual exit point. So I'm not going to cut. I'm going to keep running straight on. And this way. And yeah, I just feel like sometimes these videos are too long. Like, I want to give you the pointer so you can work it out and experience stuff for yourself. But then equally, yeah, some of this stuff can be a bit off, and I definitely think this one might actually confuse people because there's so many different ways to go, or just some dead ends. And there's the third chest right there. So now we're in Arkveds Lost Halls. Again, expect enemies and stuff. You can see this one's a big one. We've actually got 3 exits. It's the hall of changes that we want to head to, but we are going to explore something that I kind of hinted at in maybe the video, where you see a huge lava pool. So there we go, Clan of Fear. Now apparently at level 17 and above, these guys become a particular type of Clanifer that is actually relatively rare. So it'll be more challenging, more hard to beat. So you can come up this way, and then this will also take you into the same kind of spot. If we go down, we've got this giant bedroom filled again with more Atrionoxes. You'll notice the tiniest of trapdoors here to Arkved's Oasis. It brings you to the bottom of a tower, which we saw previously just in the other entrance. But this is something I never fully explored. I've got a feeling there's not much really here. After checking the wiki, there might be like a health potion on top of the tower that you can maybe climb and jump onto, but otherwise not much. What it's meant to be is a shortcut. If you actually went in that large room with the stairways that I ended up turning right and then going through the corridor with all the body parts before we got to the large room with all the giant furniture, the other entrance with the Oasis written on it actually just takes you as a quick shortcut into the giant's room so that you can bypass that corridor filled with some zombies and stuff. It's pretty much the world's worst shortcut. All you really need to know is that once you get to the giant's room with all the furniture, you're on the right path. This is where things get a bit confusing, and you can see even I didn't take one route. But the end goal is to get to Arkved's Rending Halls. So let's go straight on. See, in this room here there is a trap, and it will keep firing, I think, multiple different spells at you. Or it might just be ice, and the next one that we're going to come across might be shock. And again, there will be more enemies like Canifers and the Atrionoxes. Go through this one. This is the area I didn't really explore, so we might as well have a little look. And this is the kind of thing you expect to see. Doors that pretty much lead nowhere with minimal loot. Back out to the trap room, and obviously we're going to go straight on. You can see the doorway here led to nowhere. So let's move on to the next stage. Turn the corner. See all the bodies on the actual daisies here. Get a lot of malt flesh here, if that's something you're looking for. And pay attention to this grill. This is a bit scary. It should be pitch black almost when we get down here. Yep, apart from all of the hanging bodies and the lights. So there's a chest, a couple potions. Don't bother trying to jump across to any of these, like, unless you're really bored. I do believe there won't be much for you to gain or get from any of the bodies. It's just meant to highlight the madness of Arkved, which he's kind of signed up for himself. Originally I thought this was actually a punishment from Vaermina, the Daedric gods, that's basically pissed off that stole his orb or stole her orb. But no, I think this is something he's done himself. So again, another fake door, and then we've got 2 directions, and remember, we need to go ahead and aim for this one. So that corridor just leads to nothing, more stone. So let's go ahead and go into this one right here. Remember, your fog of war, you won't see this, but it's this one on the sort of southeast side. Follow it around. More Clanfors to deal with. Another trap. Another chest. And more doors that lead nowhere. We can take the right route here. And again, that won't lead to much. Literally just another blocked up door. So back to the trap room. And then obviously take the doorway that's here. And you should see the trap actually on the floor. So pay close attention. There might be a chance you might not have really seen it and just thought it was something that was nowhere to go. So now we're in arkveds rending halls. So look at the map again, and this is relatively straightforward. Just follow the corridor all the way along. There's no real big secrets here, but lots of corpses hung up. Lots more of the Atronachs. In fact, 3 of them. It's pretty tough, I guess. A few chests to go ahead and grab. Some more clanifers as well, or the runts at least. And then there's a chest here that you might want to try and grab. And then up the stairs with all the zombies again. And yeah, lots and lots of malt flesh. Which I don't know if it's got any real positives. Obviously good for poisons maybe. And then we'll be out this way, which will take us to arkved's death quarters. So through here, and then we'll see arkved on his deathbed. Chest with not much going on. The orbs right here. Crumpled bit of paper talking about what's happened. Do correct me if I'm wrong if you're a proper lore nerd. Was he actually sent here by the Daedric god? Has he done this himself? If you use the staff when you come back for corruption, it will spawn a clone of him, but arkved will kill it and then just go back to sleep. And there we go. The exit point is literally here, and it will take you to a trapdoor outside the tower, or inside the tower but outside. And that's something that you might see when you're exploring, but you won't be able to enter it. You can also not enter this place until you've picked up the quest from the Vaermina and obviously supplied the Black Soul Gem. I do believe there's a couple chests up in the tower if you want to go and explore that as well. But that is it. Done. Give me some feedback. Do you like this style? Is this better than me just giving you maybe the breadcrumbs to do it yourself? Let me know, and I'll see you at RATBAGGERS later.